Alright, the objective of these notes is for you to be able to find the measure of an interior or exterior angle of a polygon and find the sum of the interior angles of a polygon. So what I've done here, in order to save us some time, I'll pause. You might want to pause this in a moment. Is in the sake of saving some time, I went ahead and wrote the formulas ahead of time, so that I didn't waste all my time writing them down. So let me write down or explain what they are. First of all, n represents the number of sides the polygon has. For example, if we have a triangle, n would be 3 because it's a triangle, it has 3 sides. The sum of the interior angles, you take 180 and multiply by whatever n minus 2 is. If you want one interior angle, you're going to take 180, multiply it by n minus 2. Notice that looks like the formula above, but then we're going to divide it by n also. If you'd like one exterior angle, notice these are one exterior angles, not the sum. One exterior angle is 360 divided by n. Now if we want to find the number of sides, we have a couple different formulas. Finding n given the sum of the interior angles, what you do is you take your sum of your angles, divide by 180, and then you add 2. In order to find n if you're given an exterior angle, that one's a little bit easier. You take 360 and divide it by the measure of one exterior angle. So you might want to take a moment and pause here so that you can copy down these formulas in order for us to use them next. Alright, now that you have those copied down, what we're going to do is we're going to read the sentences and make sure we choose the correct formula to use so that we're solving these problems. So this one right here says, find the sum of the interior angles of a 16-gon. So what we know here is we have the sum interior angles of a 16-gon. So the sum of an interior angles, we're going to use this top one right here. We want to use 180 times n minus 2. 180 times n minus 2. Now I told you it was a 16-gon, so my n's going to be 16. So I have 180 times n minus, let's do that again. 180 times, our n is 16 minus 2. Now if you want to type this in the calculator just like this, that's perfectly fine. Or you can do 180 times 14, because 16 minus 2 is 14. So let's do that. 180 times 16 minus 2. That gets us a total of 2,520 degrees. And that's the sum of the angles. Alright, let's look at our next one. We have to find the sum, again we have the sum 1 again, of the interior angles of a hexagon. Now if you look back at your last notes, we know that hexagon, n equals 6, because there's 6 sides on a hexagon. Again, I'm doing sum formula, so up there I'm looking for the sum of the interior angles. That's this one right here. Again, it's 180 times n minus 2. And we're going to go ahead and substitute in 6 for n because it's a hexagon. So if you type that in your calculator, 180 times 6 minus 2, that gets us a total of 720 degrees. Now let's look at the next question. They're changing their gears a little bit here, and they're asking us a different sort of question. It says find the measures of, it should be measure, of an interior angle. That means they want a single interior angle. Notice the difference between this one says sum and this one says an interior angle and an exterior angle. Ooh, interesting, they want both. Of a regular pentagon. What we need to know is pentagon has 5 sides, so the n is 5. So we need one interior and one exterior. So my formula for interior is 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. So if you want to type it all in the calculator at once, remember you hit your green button alpha and then y equals, if you have a TI-84, which is what we have at school. And we're going to substitute all this in at once. So what I have to do is 180 times 5 minus 2 divided by 5. If you don't have a TI calculator, you can do 180 times 5 minus 2, which is 3. 180 times 3. That gets me 540 but I still have to divide by n, which is 5. So we'll take that 540 and divide it by 5. So one interior angle, is 108. One exterior angle, so exterior is definitely the easier way to solve this. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first way, and then in the next problem I'll show you a different way to solve this. So you can choose either one you like. So up here in my formula sheet, I have the formula to find one exterior angle, which is 360 divided by n. So let's do that. 360 divided by n, which is basically 360 divided by 5. So let's type that in our calculator. That's 72 degrees. And like I said, there's another way you can do it. Both are pretty simple and straightforward. I'll tell you that one in the next problem. So there you have one interior and one exterior. Let's go to the next question. Again, find the measure of an interior angle and an exterior angle. So we want the single ones, one interior, one exterior, of a regular decagon. And in a decagon, that's like a decade. It's 10 sides, like 10 years in a decade. So interior angle, so let's write that formula down. 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. And again, we know our n is 10 because it's a decade, or decagon, sorry. Times 10 minus 2, all divided by 10. And again, if you have a TI calculator, you can type that all in at once. Or what I'm going to do is 10 minus 2 is 8. I'm going to do 180 times 8 and figure out what that is. That's 1,440. And I'll divide it by 10, which is 144 degrees. Now the other way to find an exterior angle is using a little trick that we know. We know that my interior angle and my exterior angle add up to 180 degrees. So I can either do 360 divided by n, which is 10. That's going to give me 36 degrees if you type that in your calculator. Or what you can do is 180 minus 144. So if I can also do 180 minus 144, and that also gets me 36 degrees. So you can do either way you like. Alright, on our next one, we were looking for n. So they're giving us the sum of the angles is 1,260, and they want us to find n. We're working backwards on this one, and then we want to find n. And again, they're telling us this is the interior angles. So we're going to use this formula right here. Find n given the sum of interior angles. So basically we take our sum of our angles, which they give us, divide by 180, then we add 2 at the end. So that's a pretty easy formula. Sum divided by 180, and then we add 2 at the end. Now I have to do this part first if you don't have one of our calculators, and then you add 2. So I'm going to do 1,260 divided by 180. Then I'm going to add 2 at the end. Order of operations says I divide before I add. So let's figure out what that is. 1,260 divided by 180 is 7, and then we add 2, which gets me 9 sides. There will be a nonagon with 9 sides. Alright, and our next one. Again, they're giving us the sum of the angle measures of a polygon is 3,060. And they want us to find n again. So again, we're going to take the sum divided by 180, and then we add 2 at the end. So again, my sum is 3,060. I divide that by 180, and then I add 2. So first let's figure out what 3,060 divided by 180 is. That's 17. And then I add 2, and my total now, a number of sides, is 19. Alright, the next kind of question looks a little bit different. It says, the measure of an exterior angle of a regular polygon is given below. Find the measure of an interior angle, then find the number of sides. So I'm going to do this a little. There's going to be 2 steps because we need an interior angle first. So the first thing we have to remember is that my interior plus my exterior angle add up to 180 degrees. So in order to find the interior angle, if they give you an exterior angle of 45 degrees, all I do is 180 minus 45. And one of my interior angles then would be 135 degrees. Now, if I want to find the number of sides, which is n, and remember they're giving us an exterior angle. So if we look, we're looking for n, and they're giving us an exterior angle. We're going to use this formula down here. Find n given one exterior angle. You just got to look what we're looking for and what we're given. So we take 360 divided by the measure of our exterior angle. So to find one number of sides, we take 360 divided by our angle, measure of angle. And in this case, the measure of my angle is 45 degrees, so I take 360 divided by 45, and that gets me my number of sides. And that tells me that my shape has n of 8 sides, which would be an octagon. And our last example, before you try some on your own, the measure of an exterior angle of a regular polygon is given below. First, find the measure of an interior angle, then find the number of sides. So again, our interior angle first. Remember, our interior angle and our exterior are supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So I take 180 minus my exterior angle of 10. I can do that in my head. If I have $180 and I spend 10, that's $170. But in this case, we're talking about degrees. 170 degrees would be one interior angle. To find the number of sides, what I do is 360 divided by my angle. And in this case, my angle is 10. So that's pretty easy to divide by 10 because we take away a 0. 360 divided by 10, I know that would be 36 sides. So that would be called a 36gon because we don't really have a name, a common name I should say, for 36gon. You could actually figure out what it's called if you wanted to Google that, but that would be called a 36gon. Alright, time for you to practice.